Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Gamertag Radio with your hosts Danny Peña, Parris Lilly, and Peter Toledo.
Want me? Come and get me! What the hell was that? I don't know! I was just so... in the chute! You okay?
I think so. I'm going to the breaker room. I can do the next steps there.
Hey, it's Parris. I'm here with Danny, and we've been playing Spider-Man 2 for the PlayStation 5. So we have a couple gentlemen from Insomniac Games to talk about it. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I am James Ham. I'm an associate animation director at Insomniac Games.
And I'm Bobby Coddington. I'm a senior animation director at Insomniac Games.
Gentlemen, thank you for taking a few minutes to talk to us about what we've been playing. I got to say, as a huge fan of the first game and of Miles Morales, to kind of see this, what Spider-Man 2 in just these few hours I've been playing, what it's becoming has been amazing. So both of you deal with animation. My first question for you is, what are some of the things that you're doing from an animation standpoint to kind of differentiate Peter and Miles, especially like we got to play with Peter being in the symbiote suit versus Miles obviously still in his traditional suit. You know, what are some of the things that you're doing to differentiate that?
A lot of times our approach is, how would this Spider-Man handle this situation? Even if they are doing the same maneuver, if they're both in combat, what would be the Peter way of going about this versus the Miles way? Ironically, is we already have seen a lot of Peter. We have a lot of references. We have a lot of comics, movies, and TV shows. And Miles is still fairly new, where we kind of get to make newer things and things that we haven't necessarily seen before. And with that comes the inexperience that he has. And one of the things that we've been trying to show is him growing as he's been maturing as Spider-Man. So if Peter's throwing a punch, maybe Miles is going to throw a kick. And from going from the first Miles game, we've seen that he's grown. So when it comes to traversal, you'll see a flare of what we've seen in Miles' game, but you'll see it slightly different. It's a little bit more polished. He knows what he's doing now. He's a little bit more comfortable with doing these maneuvers. He's gotten familiar with being Spider-Man and what it's like to have these powers now. He's not as new anymore. So playing into that and then expanding upon Peter, of course, just making him even more polished, I guess, would be the best way to say it. And we have different pods for that. So we have, at Insomniac, we have different animation pods for combat and traversal, where we're solely focused on those things. So we have a core team that are dedicated to basically honing that skill and making those look as best as we can.
Credit for coming here!
Warning. Structural collapse imminent. Evacuate immediately.
Are you hearing this, Harry? How much longer?
I know. I'm on the last 2 steps.
Warning. Building integrity unstable.
Harry! This place is coming down! We need to leave!
No, hold! I'm so close!
Yeah, I remember playing Miles Morales for the first time, and I'm a Latino. I also grew up in New York. My mom lives in Spanish Harlem. So when I got to see the moment of like people dancing salsa, it reminded me of home, right? So are we going to see any moments like that in there that represent, the Latin culture for Miles?
To see more of that, you'll have to play the game. You'll have to play more of that.
Yeah.
But we definitely want to stay authentic to their characters and stay true to who they are.
Cool, awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you did see.
Mike.
Oh, sorry. Very got this.
It's all good. It's all good.
You did get to see a scene in there where Miles goes in and he talks to his mom in the office. So
yeah,
we're hoping to continue that kind of storytelling and the people that are close to the Spider-Man being as authentic as possible.
This will make such a difference for the community. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, bye-bye. Miles.
Hey, Ma.
Ven, siéntate. I just wanted to check in, see how you're doing. ¿Todo bien?
Fine. Everything's good. Okay. It's just a lot right now.
So much to take care of in the city. Super stressed about my college essay. Pete's busy doing other stuff. And Lee. Lee's still out there. Doesn't that bother you?
Of course it bothers me. But I'm committed to making this community better. I've got to let go of things that don't serve me and focus on where I want to go, not where I've been. ¿Entiendes lo que te digo?
Yeah. But Lee? I can't just let him go.
Well, I'm glad you actually touched on that, and I do want to get back to some of the animation stuff in the game, but even in a little bit that we played, it definitely seems like a continuation of, sure, we're going to get the action with Peter and Miles and just everything that's going to come with the combat in the game, but it definitely seems to be more personal this time from a story standpoint, especially with Miles' story when we talk about Lee in the game, things like that. Is there any of that you can elaborate on? Mike again, sorry.
I'm sorry. You have to edit this so much.
No, this makes it great.
So the question is I'm sorry.
Basically, this story seems even more personal this time. Like obviously in the first game, we really got to see a lot with Peter and Mary Jane and Aunt May and everything that was happening with that. But now, just in this part that we played, we're definitely going to get another side with Miles from a more personal standpoint. So, talking about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously he's been through a lot. He's got all the normal problems of a human and the problems of a Spider-Man, and having Lee out is not helping things. And it's that struggle between the Spider-Man and a human, and that extra thing that comes and pushes the balance out of whack that makes it a great story. And then, of course, going into Spider-Man 2, the games have been successful, and that has enabled us to sort of expand, to try and go bigger, to have more details, to ambitiously tell multiple stories. And we're trying to give people the epic experiences and the storytelling that they want from this,
Yeah, I think we dig a little bit deeper into that in this story. It is a little bit more personal. We get to see him grow at this age. We see that he's like in the presentation you got before this was, Miles trying to figure out the college stuff, and going into that, we get to see him growing as a human, but also trying to find that balance of being Spider-Man, which is a core of being a Spider-Man story, is that balance of him as a human, but also him as a hero. So staying true to that and being authentic to his character and his personal issues is something that we're trying to go towards.
I know in this game, we're also going to have now other boroughs now, Queens and Brooklyn. So what are the new stuff that we're going to see in those type of boroughs in there, besides the one that we got to see in the...
That I can't speak on too much. I can't speak on it. I gotta have something for you to say and be surprised about. I can't tell you everything,
No, but I'm saying like the demos is. I know we go to Queens. We didn't get to go to Brooklyn at all. But I mean, what you could talk about like now that the world is a lot bigger now, previously compared to the first game.
With the world being bigger, I think one of the big things, one of the biggest additions that I love in the game is the wing, having the wings. Being able to fly around, that helps out so much because the map has expanded so much. It's a lot easier to get around. And when it comes to swinging, it's constantly going up and down, up and down. And with the wings now, you get a different vantage point. You're able to see the tops of building. You're able to experience Marvel's New York from a new perspective and really take it in, like the lighting from the city and all the team's work to really make Marvel's New York look beautiful.
Yeah, and it feels a lot faster,
yes.
Especially when I have to go to like a different location. Also, there's fast travel in the game too, right?
Yes. Yeah. The power of the PS5 definitely helps out with the speed of traversal and swinging, and it even reflects in some of the animations we did, because now you're swinging at such a higher speed. We want that to reflect in the animations and such. So the speed of the PS5 gives us that capability to do that, and between different traversal moves and also the wingsuit, it's a lot easier to explore a bigger map.
So speaking of animation,
Yes.
let's talk a little bit more about combat. So again, the new wrinkle that we have in here, Peter has the symbiote suit, and there's a set of powers that come with that. So not only can you talk about introducing those type of what's the word I'm looking for? Introducing the symbiote weapons and actions into the game, along with now we have Kraven and his crew as well, and we saw some different type of enemies that we'd fight in there. What are some of the things we can expect?
Some of the symbiote powers that you are able to play with just really enhance what we've already done with combat. So from the symbiote strike and the symbiote blast, they really add to the versatility of combat in ways that we haven't been able to do before. And then same thing goes for Miles with his bioelectricity powers. We're able to see more and be more creative as kind of like that acrobatic improviser that the both Spider-Man tend to be.
Yeah. And the abilities kind of push the character arc along. You know? And so anything we can do, I mean, if Peter is having trouble being Peter, obviously, then that should come through in the way he fights as well. Because in a way, how they fight is how they express themselves.
No, go ahead. No, I was going to ask, because I noticed I was upgrading my skills from each character, right? And I also noticed that you could also, there's skills with both characters at the same time. Now, in the game, can I switch anytime I want? Or this is more of like the story where I'm with Peter, and then because of the story, it'll switch to Miles. Do I have an option to do it myself too, or no?
There's key narrative moments where switching is something that is available. I think that's the answer for the
That's a good answer.
I got this. We've been through this before, Connors. If you're in there, I could really use your help. You're Kurt Connors, a brilliant scientist. You made some mistakes, but it doesn't have to end like this! Is this how you want your family to remember you? You can still be with them! Down, gotta make my move! Think of your wife! Your son! They need you!
I love what we got to play in this demo was kind of like an extension of what you revealed a few months ago, you know, with the 10-minute thing. So it was great to kind of see what was happening before that moment and what was happening after. But I am curious if you can elaborate more, because unlike him, I actually went out in the open world and did things.
Sure.
So I'm blanking on the exact name, but there was like the hunter locations. I'm blanking on the exact name, where you discover and there's a bunch of enemies there you would fight, and there'd be like a puzzle element in there as well to kind of open up other locations. So can you talk about some of the new activities that we'll see out in the open world that people can expect? Or is that a secret too?
It is. We kind of want you to play the game and find out. But what you saw, we kind of wanted you to play the game and find out. But what you saw is a nice cross section of what you can expect.
Yeah, there's still a lot to explore.
Yeah,
like that's just the tip of the iceberg. But yeah, we want you to be able to explore that, and you see it for the first time yourself.
Yeah. So speaking along those lines, because that was one thing during the initial presentation, and you can even see it when you open up the map. This is virtually double the size of the original Spider-Man game. So again, from an activity standpoint, just things that we're going to do just in the open world outside of the main story, you're really opening this up and just really expanding that story. Because one cool thing I was telling him that I noticed, there was a crime that was happening. I was like, oh, let me go do that. Miles was already there.
Yeah.
And he's already fighting, and then I'm joining him to help take those out, and then I leave and go on my way. So are these the kind of things that we can expect out in the open world?
Yes. There are times where like you can be swinging throughout the city, and you can see the other Spider-Man sometimes actively doing something or stopping a crime, and sometimes you can hop in and then they'll join you, and it's a cool experience to be able to play with both Peter and Miles in this way.
So the opposite could happen. I could be engaged into something, and Miles could come out of nowhere and help with me. That's pretty cool.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yep. That's very cool. I'm trying to think of other questions too.
See, I try to like, hey, you don't want me to do all the talking, but then you got nothing to say. Again, from a visual standpoint, because you touched on that very lightly earlier, but I really noticed again the power of the PS5. But man, it's just some of the lighting and everything, even going beyond what I've seen on Spider-Man Remastered on the PC. Looks fantastic. So is there anything you talk about from a visual standpoint that you've improved?
The game's beautiful. Like, I can only compliment the lighting and environment artists and everything that they've done. It looks stellar. And then again, with the wings, being able to like really take it in while you're still moving just adds something to what you're able to see. Because before, I feel like when you're just swinging, we give you the option. You don't necessarily have to use the wings, of course. But when you're swinging, you see a glimpse of it, and then you're going back down to the street, and then you come up, and it looks great, and then you go back down. But the wings, you can like really take it in and just kind of soar above everything and like, wow, this looks beautiful. And I think to even enhance that, using that with photo mode, it just adds a new element between going in, taking it all in, going into photo mode, and then like seeing around, adding lights, and making it look beautiful. And you can come out with a whole bunch of great virtual pictures. So.
That guy's getting up in those people's faces. I'm there.
Slipping, Spider-Man!
We're ending this now.
Blast on, Spider!
Now, my question is, do you guys travel to New York City to see like how it is, like the environment over there, like the people walking around? Because, you know, I remember the last game, I got to see people breakdancing in the middle of the street and stuff like that. So was there anything that inspired you guys to make this a little bit more different when it comes to that, like the world of like people walking around and everything like that? And wow, that was they love my question so much.
I personally haven't, but I know the team has gone out there a couple times.
I mean, I went out.
Was there anything, the inspiration that helped you guys to come up with like the animation stuff like that? You know.
Well, I mean, as far as the living world, I mean, I went out on my own and took some videos of different areas, and then we just look at tons of reference. Now you can get reference on New York City very well, but in order to bring our Marvel New York to life, we actually dedicated a pod of animators just to the living world and just trying to make sure we have people doing things in the world that make sense, that belong.
Yeah, because the first thing I did before I started doing the story, I wanted to go to Central Park, and the area that I always would hang out around my area. And yeah, it's like perfectly exactly the same location and everything, man, too. So I even walked around Harlem too. I'm like, all right. But I noticed there was a lot of stores that's not the same from the last game. A lot of changes, but just want to say that very quick.
No, I mean
get my close.
Yeah, we don't handle that side of it, but to see you say that, to watch your face as you explain, you went there and this is your place. Like, that's everything. That's what we want. Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you.
So ever since we saw the original demo of the game a few months ago, just one thing I've seen throughout the community has been, well, this is just the same as the original Spider-Man. They haven't done anything. They're not improving anything. What would you say to people that are being skeptical about what's new with Spider-Man 2 that people should be excited about?
I mean, for one, you have to play it to really experience it.
If I could pause you on that, 100%, because I'm telling you, as soon as I picked up the sticks and started playing, I was like, oh yeah,
it feels
you can instantly tell.
And just again, the capability of the PS5, the speed in itself that you're able to get through the city is definitely a game changer. Between that and the web wings and being able to soar, it's a complete game changer on how you traverse the city and how you get from one destination to the next, and how you can do different types of combinations between whether you're doing combat or traversal. I think is something that we've really expanded upon.
Yeah, that's great. Speaking of that with the combat, one thing we didn't touch on is a change with the way that you're using the different skills. Like, there's on the L1 and the R1. Can you kind of explain how that's different from the previous games?
I mean, after Miles, that really helped out a lot as far as like button functionality, and we did a lot of iterations on that, and working closely with the combat team and collaborating with designers and core gameplay. We were able to push certain elements and kind of figure out what we wanted certain actions to feel like. And in your playthrough, you can use like the Symbiote punch, and it's like, what is the end result of this? How do we make that look good? How do we polish this to make this feel visceral and make it feel very impactful for those moments? And like really pushing that a lot helped.
Careful where you fire!
Yeah, because one thing I noticed with the combat was because it took me a minute to get it down, but once I did and I really started getting that synergy and the combos going, felt fantastic. Like there's an actual cooldown with some of the powers and everything now too, right?
Yes. And I'm not the best person to talk about that system.
Right.
I'm not the best person to talk about the system.
Definitely game design.
Yeah, definitely game design, but we definitely worked with them, close with them, and collaborated to get the best feel we could for this game.
Parris, you got to talk about, they took you a long time to figure out the wing. You didn't mention that.
Well, I didn't want to embarrass myself on the interview. Yeah, I was a little slow with the web wings, but I got it at the end.
See, I was quick with that one. Oh, quick. But it took me a while with the combat, though. It took me a little while there, man. Yeah, I know you were saying that, the world is a lot faster now. But also, you forgot to mention, too, like, even the people and everything that's happening, the vehicles. It's crazy how much stuff is happening at the same time compared to, like, the first game. So props to you guys for that, man, because it's thumbs up on that, man. Just want to say that real quick.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This one seems really high-tech. Hunter pets. Better go take a look.
That's it. Spider-Man! Do not let him escape!
Which one to use the Alpha? The city's gonna clean this up, right? I'll double check later.
Well, I know we're running out of time, so I want to thank you both for taking a few minutes to talk to us about Spider-Man 2. October 20th, it's coming out. What we played today has just been fantastic. Can't wait. I think Craven's out there herding up somebody right now, so we're going to go. But again, gentlemen, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Keep it together, man. Don't you punk out on me. You could do this.
Another pen above that guy.
Who's that? Yo, Doug, that better be you.